Alright, today we're going to draw a goat. Let's see how we should draw this goat. We'll roughly start from here to here, determine the placement like this. Then the width will just refer to how far it is from the canvas edges. How far away is it? Our main goal right now is to draw the overall proportions of these goats. The big ones aren't much different. Alright, after that's done, let's look at the shape of this goat. One feature. First, see this goat's belly, it's round. Its overall body shape, we'll roughly see it as you see it's kind of like a triangle shape. Right, then this is its horns. We'll compare the fur on its head. This is the ear, small ear. Then behind the ear are the horns. Then roughly the eyes. Let's first gently draw a line, and once the ear extends to here, then behind that is the neck. Behind the neck, we'll use this neck shape and gently show the transition. Then, from this curve of the neck, we look at how it connects into the body, then transitioning to the back. And then find the position of its mouth, checking gently if it looks right, if it's natural. Then the nose, and then we see this, actually the front of its nose, it's round like when you bow your head. Don't draw the mouth too long. Looking from this point to that point on this diagonal line, let's sketch it and see what it roughly looks like. You can't extend it all the way here, that's too long, but you can't end it just here either. It's more like a cat or dog's, but a bit longer than a cat or dog's. Its eyes are slender. For the ear, let's refer to the corner of its eye. Generally, it's a bit further down behind the eye corner. This part of the goat's head, roughly from here to where the belly begins to slope down. This belly, it's like this, so from this point, it starts here. And then after this part is its front leg. And the thickness of the legs needs a reference for comparison. This joint, knee joint, then thick, then middle thin, go downward. Pay attention to the relationship between this angle and this angle, because it's aimed at us, so there must be a perspective. This is the sheep, and after this sheep, let's look at the little sheep behind. For the little lamb, we can drag this straight line and compare it with the reference image. This straight line basically places the lamb standing at about the same level as the belly. Next, let's look for the nose and roughly the two ears. See, that's its biggest feature. Let's first set the big features and then slowly look for the shape based on those big features. Then some major connections are probably mouths and then legs. Come from here, then this is the knee pointing back a bit, then here. Behind this is the hind leg and also a little lamb. We've pretty much determined the lamb's position, and after that let's look at the relationship between the two of them. Its mouth is here, its mouth is slightly higher than it, and it faces us a bit. Alright, this is one of the three sheep shapes. Let's take the pen and start processing and drawing the details. Alright, let's start with the sheep's eyes. The upper curve should be a bit larger and the lower part a bit smaller. It's good to use this short line because there are curls on the eyelids that hang on it. Next, let's find its nose. The sheep's nose is like a water droplet, round at the bottom, and then the area behind it, it's the line on the nose. We can draw it a bit more smoothly. Be careful not to draw too much because the sheep is all white wool, so just draw the sheep's texture, don't draw too much. Drawing too much might make the colors darker. Look, let's walk through this place gently and gently, slowly passing through, gradually weakening and weakening. It gets narrower and narrower, and after the transition it finally reaches this jaw of the sheep. The spot is also here. Look, there's a dent in the cheek. If you look closely, the sheep's cheek has some undulations. It's not a flat plane, because on the horn it has some of this. It's not very smooth and the tone of the horn is darker than the wool, so we arrange the cables a bit more densely. Let it contrast, make it look like the wool is white, this one is indented, and this part has a recess. Then make the upper part a bit lighter and a bit whiter, so we'll paint lighter. For this line, we'll make it denser, darker, and heavier. For this length, it has 1, 2, then 3, so you can interweave it like this. Let's see here. Draw a bit, then towards the back it gets lighter and lighter because this part has a glow effect. Then for the chest area, the key is to really show off the layered texture of the sheep's wool. And some areas might be clearer and a bit heavier. This area needs to be drawn with slightly more detail. Sometimes below the chest it might seem heavier. Even because it moved, this area might sometimes look a bit blurred. Then when you look at the drawing, we're painting and using curved lines to emphasize it. Find the light and shadow transitions and treat this area like it's a ball. This part is bright, then slowly press down the other side. At some point this section will be reflective, so just lighten it a bit. We don't add to this area. Focus on adding to this part to make it heavier. Alright, now let's get back to the legs. Start by using curves and broken lines for the leg shape. Draw the leg's form, then locate the knee position. Inside, don't suddenly lighten it. Keep using fine broken lines to get that fluffy texture. Because down here the hair is often a bit shorter. When it's longer fur, especially on the leg, it should follow the direction. Let's fix up the belly, make it a little rounder. Okay, that's done. Now the back leg, let's keep it simple and generalized. Then lightly sketch these lines. Keep this side bright, sketch on this side. For the foot area, sketch some grass. When sketching the grass, find a few up front, clarify their overlapping, then summarize the rest. But in front there need to be a few blades of grass clearly overlapping so the interweaving is obvious. But see, it's a two-layer relationship. The grass in front should be bigger, the back smaller. You want it to have that kind of spatial change from front to back. You can't make the front this long and have the back the same way. If you do that, the picture won't have enough depth. Alright, and then here, these are the two little lambs in the back. As for the two lambs, let's just roughly sketch them out. Same as before, start with these broken lines. Because this part is particularly small, we can't draw it too precisely. In general, later on. This one here. Use simple lines to outline the main structural parts. And for the top half here, leave space for the highlights. For the lower half of its leg, draw some grass. Start with the rough sketch, and after that, I'll draw the lamb in the background the same way. And then these ears, pull them downwards on both sides. For this part, start with the slightly longer curls under the neck going all the way down. Here, make it a bit shallower. From the inside to the outside, it should have a transition. Then, for this leg, make the middle part possibly a bit shorter. For this leg, just make some simple shading lines in the middle, leaving a bit on both sides. Leave a little bit of white space. Alright, and then on this grassy area, let's do a bit more transitioning. Okay, now let's go back and touch up the overall look of the image a bit. Clean it up and add in some details. Certain main structural parts need more emphasis. Like these shaded areas. These lines here, all the lines are fine and delicate lines. The whole picture needs some heavier areas. These are heavy toned sections to add weight. Otherwise, the picture will feel too light and lack substance. But the areas that need to remain white, we should also leave them. Then for the legs, pay attention to changes in weight, deepening the middle, making the sides lighter, softer, and more generalized. Don't draw it too detailed. The lamb in the background is the same. And then for the ground, we add a bit more to create a flat surface. This is a simple way to draw the sheep.